I'm telling you, if you do not commit, and follow through with your plans, you're gonna end up nowhere. You're gonna realize that it's 3-4 years down the line and you have nothing to show for it. First of all, thank you so very much for checking out this podcast, the Gamerdev podcast. We really do appreciate it. If you have any questions or tips that you want to throw out to the community, make sure you throw down that hashtag Gamerdev podcast on Twitter, and we'll make sure to answer your questions on the next episode. Hello everyone, it is I, Chris Colina, and welcome to the Gamerdev podcast, where gamers transition into game developers. So, it's been a while. It's been another week, actually. The last podcast, I think, went pretty well. I enjoyed all your questions, and I love interacting with the community. You all are amazing. You are one of the most supportive and stupendous communities ever. I'm trying to use different vocabulary, as you can tell. But on this episode, we're going to talk about choices and how you should really think about certain choices before you even begin coding your game. Now, there's a lot of choices. I want to go through this pretty quickly. And this is specifically something that I had to go through before I even started my first game. Actually, no. Let's reverse that a little bit. I actually wish I had this list when I first started, because there was so many things that I just tried. Like I booted up Unity, and I decided, I want to make this kind of game. I want to do this, and then after 3 weeks and stumbling across some very difficult issues, I realized, I don't have the skills to really continue forward, and then I just dropped the project, which leads into the very first and the most important choice that you have to make before you even begin coding. The choice to commit. That is one of the most important choices that you can ever make when deciding to start in almost any field, but specifically game development. You have to make sure that you are going to begin and finish your project. You're going to make sure that it is done. Because, okay, the first couple that you put out is probably not going to be the best. They're probably not going to be the home run hitters, the games that make you millions of dollars. I know all of us dream. We've done the math, and we're like, oh my god, if we only sell so many copies, we can really make it big and quit our day job and become game developers. But I'm telling you, if you do not commit and follow through with your plans, you're gonna end up nowhere. You're gonna realize that it's 3-4 years down the line and you have nothing to show for it. So even if your first game is a bunch of stick figures fighting each other, like, put it out there. You did it. You made that. That was you. So commit. That's the most important thing. Okay. After you have finally decided to really commit to this project and actually follow through, the next big choice that you should probably make is deciding whether you're going to create your own game engine or choose an existing one. If you are a beginner, I would heavily suggest that you choose an existing one, like Unity, Unreal, or like even the one that I chose, which is Construct 3. So Construct 3, I ended up realizing that a lot of these game engines are very, very similar. They all run on a very similar programming language. And basically what you're doing is you're telling the computer what you want it to do. Construct 3 is fantastic if you are literally just diving into game development. If you don't really know much, but you understand the logic behind it, hit up Construct 3. I feel, now that I know Construct back and forth, I'm actually feeling the itch to transition over to Unity because it gives me more freedom. But I have committed with Construct, and I will continue my game development with Construct until I finish this game. Later on, if I want to continue learning. By the way, I am currently working on C sharp. I am learning C sharp, and my side project on top of the game is to become a full stack developer. Just because that it's more steady income, and I have a family to feed. PSP, I have a family to feed. I don't know if you guys get that reference, but Ego Raptor, you win, Aaron. So, yes, guys, remember, you need to commit and pick your engine. If you are well versed in programming language and you think you can make your own game engine and have it do exactly what you want it to do, if there's a specific thing that you want to do in your game and no other engine offers that for you, then go ahead, have fun, enjoy making your game engine. It's going to be a lot of work. I've heard of a lot of developers that started down that route. They decided that they want to make their own game engine. They want to do it from scratch, and they ended up regretting it. They're like, okay, like I wish I literally just used Unity from the start. So be wary, do your research, and pick an engine. That is very important. Next important fact, another important choice that you have to make when deciding to get into game development is your story. Like the game and story that you are going to tell. I had a topic about storytelling earlier. That was last week's episode. But it's true. It's important. We are game developers because we have that creative itch. Each and every one of us, we are creative in our own right. And you have these ideas and these stories that you want to put out to the world. I know you do. I've seen a lot of your projects and they're amazing, but you need to stick to one. At first, you need to stick to one. All right, especially if you don't have that much time. I mean, if you split your time up on too many things, then you're not going to get anything done. So stick to one idea. And I really suggest that when you go to pick this one idea, that you storyboard your idea out. You make an elevator pitch. That's like a two sentences that basically say what your game is. Like for instance, I may have forgotten this. Let's see if it comes back to me. Sayokin, the game that I'm working on, is basically this. It's a group of college kids that soon realize that they've come into these psychic abilities. They have to live a regular college life while dealing with the mysteries that are happening around these abilities and the town that they live in. That is my elevator pitch for Sayokin. I think I have a better one written down somewhere. I should have actually pulled that somewhere. I didn't think I was going to get to that train of thought, but I'll continue. Yes, make an elevator pitch for each one of your ideas, each one of your games. And once you have a good feedback, like go to your friends, go to your family, ask them what they think. Come up with game mechanics for your ideas. What would make it stick, and pick the one that feels right. Pick the one that you see that people are really keen to, that people really, it sparks something in them. They're like, oh my god, that's awesome. Make this game. Make it happen. You'll know. And it'll feel right to you. If it's something that you're passionate about, I'm sure it'll come out amazing. So, and now this next fact, it coincides with, the storyboarding, but choose your game style, all right? Whether it's 2D, 3D, point and click, visual novel, whatever your game style is, stick to it. Make sure you plan it out and that you pick the one that works for you. A lot of times your game style is very limited on your skill, on what you can do and what you're comfortable with doing. Like, for instance, I'm probably not going to work on anything that's 3D because I know that a full 3D game requires a huge team just for the animations that you want to do with it, for all the different models, and just connecting everything. I know that 3D will be a whole lot of work and a whole lot of money. just to get it right. Because I've seen people do 3D in very small groups, um, and it just falls short. Like if you don't have the polish that you need and the money and the time and the manpower to make a really fantastic AAA title that's in 3D, then it's probably going to get overlooked. Right now, I do feel like the indie scene and the retro scene it's really high in demand. A lot of people like the 2D graphics, and I feel like they stand the test of time. So me personally, I picked going the 2D route. There's also game engines like point and click, where you can literally make a game where you just point and click, and it's pictures. You know, all you have to really have to do is create a picture and then program where you click to go to the next area or whatnot. Um, or puzzle games. You know, you can make it like Candy Crush, where you touch the screen and you know what game you want to make. So yes, make sure you have decided your style. From there, also coinciding with the story, your genre. Is it an RPG, JRPG, action adventure? Is it a horror title, puzzle? Is it a simulation game? Like, what is your genre? Where do you fall into the whole mess of games that are available now? Once you have decided this, you're getting closer to knowing exactly what you need to do to code and create this game. After deciding on your genre, this is important for marketing specifically. Later on, you're going to really need to do this. Know your demographic. Know who you're creating this game for. And know that the market wants it. You don't have to do this. This isn't necessary. Like, if you just want to make a game because you want it and it's fun to you, by all means, go ahead and do it. Just know it's going to take a lot of time to do this. Or it might not. I don't know if you're going to do a 24-hour game jam and bust out a couple small titles, and, you know, it might be quick. But, like, know your demographic. Know who this is for, because then it makes it easier for you to actually market it and get it out there in front of the right people. Because you want the right people to see your game, because then that gets more people to see your game and more people to see what you're doing in your studio, and then everything grows from there. So that's important. Know your demographic. And finally, one of the last little things that I want to bring up is your platform. This is kind of important to know before you start coding. Know kind of where you want to put it. Like, if it's easy to port it over later on, but this is very helpful if you know it beforehand, because you know what already needs to be implemented. Like, if you're going to make it for the Switch, for the PS4, are you going to have it just PC, sell it on Steam or Twitch.io? Are you gonna have it on Apple? Because, okay, so that's one of the more difficult ones to program for, because you need an Apple computer. If you want it to be in the iTunes store, if you want it to be there on Apple, on the Apple market, then you're gonna need different software and different programs. And you know, you may already have it. It's just something different for me specifically, because I'm coding on a PC, and I'm planning on releasing mine specifically on PC and hopefully on Switch and PS4. Or maybe PS5 by that time. Who knows? But yeah, there's a lot of things that you're gonna have to add. You're gonna have to look through the documentation, and like for like PS4, you have to make all the different trophies, and you have to add in all the achievements and all that extra stuff that goes with programming and putting it on one of those platforms. But yeah, choices. Choices are one of the most important things, and the choice to commit is by far the main thing that you need. If you're not going to commit, there's no point in following any of the other steps and choosing anything else, because at that point, just mess with the program and hope something sticks. You need to commit. You need to make a choice. You need to decide that, you know what, I'm going to make a game, and I'm going to make it happen. But yeah, I did have a couple questions last week on last week's episode. The first one is from It's the Jobless Kid. And he goes, "Whoa, Gamerdev, what made you come up with this amazing idea, aka podcast? Also, is it hard getting connections through the gaming community?" That's a fantastic question. Since I am new to this, I want to say yes. At first, right now, for me, it's kind of hard connecting because when you start off, I feel a lot of people think that you're a poser. I feel like a lot of people are like, wait, I've been in this space for X number of years and you just popped up like a couple months ago. Who are you? Like, what are you doing here? And there are going to be those negative people, but there are also going to be people that are welcoming too. I've found a tremendous, amazing group on Facebook where it's Beginners to Game Dev, and shout out to Beginners to Game Dev, and they've welcomed me with open arms, and they've answered a lot of my questions that I've had on those forums, and it actually really did help me get started. So I want to say, if you want to get connections within the gaming community, just start out with Facebook forums. There are a lot of other websites. I know one really great website for gaming information, and their forums are amazing too, is Gamasutra. Check that out. They have a lot of post-mortems on there where you can learn about how other developers went through their game development process and what they did throughout their whole development cycle. That's very intriguing, very amazing. I really recommend it. But yes, thank you for the question. And we got Clammy back again. Thank you, Clammy, for watching these videos and listening to these podcasts. And Clammy's question is, let's see. Great vid. Thank you for answering my question. Here's another one. Do you prefer making story-driven games, fast action games? Both to make them and play them? And which do you think are better to make as an indie dev? That is a great question. Okay, so the first part, do you prefer making story-driven games or fast action games? Me personally, I love story. And that's something that I feel like is one of my strengths, is storytelling, because I've done stage shows and stage productions. So I want to say I prefer the story-driven games more than the fast-paced action. I do enjoy action games. They're a lot of fun, like God of War, and I guess Kingdom Hearts is kind of story. No, that's story-based. And then there's always Fortnite. Everyone loves Fortnite. I'm not gonna, I'm standing on the fence on that. Just letting you know. But love it or hate it, Fortnite's one of the biggest games out right now, and they know the industry, and they're doing things right. So love them or hate them, they're doing something right. So when you see someone doing something right, then you gotta take note of that. Now, to play them, like I said, I like playing story-driven games. I love any story that kind of puts me in the driver's seat. If they make me the character, the main character, that's why I like RPGs and JRPGs at the same time. But RPGs actually make you the character. You make your character and you become, the main character. In RPGs, you have choices. You kind of are playing another character, though. You could rename them, like in Pokemon and whatnot, but for the most part, there's already a specific character. Like Persona is Joker. Persona 5 has Joker, and you could rename him and whatnot, but you're Joker. He has his own personality. He's his own character, and you could choose different options for him to talk through dialogue, but for the most part, he is his own character, and that's the main difference between RPG and JRPGs. I do love JRPGs, but at the same time, I love being able to choose and being in the driver's seat. So I'm a little conflicted. What I want to do is like a blend of both of them, and that's kind of like my idea for this game that I'm working on now. So it's American and Japanese inspired RPG. I don't know if that's going to be a new genre in the future. Who knows? But yeah. And which do you think are better to make as an indie dev? I think story-driven games are definitely better for indie dev. Like, all of it leads to story-based games. Action games could be good for game devs too, like Binding of Isaac, but like in almost everything, there is, you know, there's something there. It's really your choice. But I would say showing your creativity, putting the story out there, that makes it easier to really showcase what you got. Like I said, this is personally just me, but I want to know what you guys want to do. Like, what kind of games are you all working on? Did you already start your game journey, or are you thinking about starting? Thank you all so very much for checking out. We are on episode 4 already. Episode 4 of the Gamerdev podcast. Like, you have no idea how much I appreciate each and every one of you listening out there. I really feel like this is a community. This community feels more like a family to me. I feel comfortable, interacting and talking with all of you in this game dev community. And I really appreciate it. A lot of you out there have helped me tremendously. And yeah, thank you. I really do hope that you all enjoyed this episode. And stick around. There will be more. See you soon.